Give him a big round of applause. Mr. Timo Elliott.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing experience so far. And that's one of the themes of today, experience management powered by the intelligent enterprise. Today we've heard lots of wonderful examples of organizations that are optimizing the experiences that matter in their company. And we've just heard how technology has been transforming the experience of creating music. So how do we do experience management? How can you apply this principle in your organization? Well, it's 3 steps. First, it's about listening, making sure that we're getting the right feedback from the right people at the right time. Once we've got that feedback, we need to understand it. And this is where we talk about X plus O. Most of us here are used to O data, the operational data, the structured information that is part of every business process. But now we need to bring in the X data, the subjective human experience data of whether that process is going well or going badly. By bringing X and O together, we get a global overview of what's going on. And then, of course, we want to act on that information. It could be in real time so we can rescue or improve customer experience. Or it could be over the longer term, where we have an action plan to make sure that our products and services are the best possibly adapted to the economies of tomorrow. Let's look at a couple of real-world examples of how organizations are doing this. First, let's start with the San Francisco 49ers, a professional American football team based in California. This is their stadium. They care a lot about their fans. They want to optimize the fan experience on game days. But like most organizations in this room, they have lots of different fragmented IT systems that all come together to create that experience. Before, it took them 3 days to gather that information and use it to figure out whether the experience had been good 3 days ago. But now, using the SAP HANA Cloud Platform and the SAP Analytics Cloud and Digital Boardroom, they bring that information in all together in real time. They have O data from the parking and the sales of beer and Coca-Cola. They have X data from social media data and those buttons that you press to see if you're enjoying your experience or not. They bring that all together, and then they act on it in real time. Rather than knowing that 3 days ago they had a bad experience, they know that people are having an experience now. So there's maybe too long a line for one of the concessions to buy beer, or it's taking too long to get out of the parking lot. They can now act on that, move staff around to reduce the lines, so they can really be proactive about every aspect of the customer experience. And they even take this data and provide it to the customers themselves. So if you're in one of these skyboxes, you can actually get the statistics of this game compared to previous games, so you get all of the context of what's going on and enjoy it even more. But it's not just about traditional customer experiences. It can also be about smaller organizations and not just the customer experience, but the creation of new products and services. Here's a lovely example. It's Moto Chic. So a young lady, a young woman, Kelly Williams, was frustrated that she couldn't find stylish, practical motorcycle accessories that went along with her lifestyle. So like any good millennial, she didn't go out and complain. She went and created her own company using Kickstarter. But of course, she needed to make sure that the product she was creating really met a match in the market at the right price point. So she turned to the Qualtrics experience management technology. It helped her get the right data from the right time, from the right audience to make sure that she really had the business model she needed. And we could apply this to any innovation initiative inside your organization. You've got your traditional KPIs, but really making sure that you have those human interface, that human reactions about whether things are going well or badly. Now, we know that new technology has introduced amazing new opportunities to transform every aspect of business. But it's not just about revenue and profit. It's also about helping make the world a better place. I honestly believe we have an amazing opportunity, all of us in this room, to create win-win-win opportunities where we're improving customer outcomes, and we're reducing costs and increasing profits, and we're helping improve society. There's no longer really a trade-off between profits and purpose. Today's organizations expect all of us to be working to help improve society as a whole, and they're willing to put their wallets behind their words. They're willing to pay more for the companies that make the extra effort. Here's a lovely example. It's all about fish transparency. So you might not know this, but the world of fish is a hotbed of fraud and deceit. A few weeks ago, there was a professor of molecular biology, and she gave her students a homework to go out and go buy fish in restaurants and stores and bring it back for DNA sequencing. And out of the 9 samples they managed to sequence, only 2 of them were actually the fish that was mentioned on the label or in the menu. One of the fish was escolar, which is edible, but can create indigestion problems for many people. And then the worst was the one sample that they couldn't initially identify. It didn't match any species of fish that they could find. It turned out, when they looked a bit wider, it was the DNA of the human body louse. So this was a sample of salmon that had managed to have so much body louse DNA on it that had been corrupted. So here's a company called Bumble Bee Seafood that really cares about fish and fish transparency. They've been around for 100 years. They really want to make sure that you know what you are buying that's of great quality. So it all starts with Jafar. He's a fisherman off in the waters of Indonesia. He's spending his entire day catching this one prime yellowfish tuna. And when he catches it, he's in a pretty good mood because that fish is worth thousands of dollars of him, weeks of wages. But then that fish starts its journey. And it's going to be using the SAP blockchain technology in the cloud to track everything that's going on. So it goes to the processing plant. All of the information about who caught the fish and where it was caught is attached to that blockchain. And it goes all the way along the process until it gets to the final store. So this is about increased efficiency and transparency for their company, but it's also about making sure that the consumers get the information they need. They can scan a QR code and they can literally see who bought this fish and where and every step along the way. So they can really be sure that they're buying what they wanted to buy. But Bumble Bee Seafood is also using analytics. A lot of these fishermen have subsistence lives. So Bumble Bee Seafood is using that analytics data to help the individual fishermen working with not-for-profits to give them the information they need to optimize their business. If they can catch more fish, they're better off, but so is Bumble Bee and so is all of us as the final consumers. So a lovely example of how we can use the latest technologies not just to improve business, but also to help people live longer, happier lives. We talked a lot about digital transformation today, so just quickly, what are some of the things we can do to become intelligent enterprises? Well, we worked with organizations to do a survey to find out what was really correlated with success. The number one thing was that the leaders who are succeeding with digital transformation overwhelmingly have invested in systems to track the end-to-end customer journey. 92% of them say they have a system in place compared to just 22% of the others. So if you don't have this today, this is absolutely the first step. A strong data foundation to bring together all of the touch points so you can know whether you're actually optimizing your customer experience today. But it's also about people, your employees. It's about optimizing the end-to-end employee experience. The leaders in digital transformation had all invested a lot more in training and onboarding and new skills and new organizations and new ways of working, new job titles. They've gone that extra mile to make sure that their organization as it was yesterday is not a barrier for the organization you'll be tomorrow. Of course, technology made a difference. We found that the leaders, 7 times as many of the leaders, for example, were using machine learning today compared to the people who weren't so successful. Now, partly, I think this is because the leaders did the hard job already. They spent the time to create a strong foundation using the latest technologies in memory like S/4HANA, bringing together all of the data they need to know what's going on. Once you've done that, the machine learning can be really straightforward, really quick, and incredibly valuable. I've worked with lots of organizations that have been excited by a machine learning project, but then first had to take a step back to make sure that they had the data they needed to be successful. So, one takeaway from this presentation, make sure you invest in data and the systems to make sure you have the best use of your data assets. If you have that foundation, the future is amazing opportunities using things like artificial intelligence. And finally, of course, it's all about strategy. It's not like pockets of innovation, jumping on every little technology that might seem interesting and trying to find a use for it. It's about finding real business needs. Once you've found that business need, looking at the different technologies that can make a difference, and then rolling it out in an iterative way where you're building on success. As I said, I hope you're having an amazing opportunity, an amazing experience today, that you've seen lots of technologies and sessions and had great ideas of things that you can take back to the office tomorrow to do something different and better in the future. Now more than ever, we think that being the best in your industry means making a difference. Our job is to try and make a difference by helping you be successful. We want to make you best-run organizations because we believe that best-run businesses help the world run better. Thank you very much for your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.